I ain't gotta prove nothing to nobody else. That's why I don't never get too hyped about the win after I win, because it's like you always gotta do something over and over again till you done. And it's always gonna be somebody next, somebody next, somebody next. So I feel as though I don't have to prove myself to these people.
Come on, man.
You know what I'm saying? So we are striving to be the best that we can be to be on that level again, you know? So, you know, you saying you want to do what you want to do, that's good, because that's what you want to do.
That's the God in you that's trying to
that's good.
seek it, you know?
And you...
Gervonta Davis is sharpening every weapon in his arsenal for his clash with Jake Paul, proving that his knockout power is built through relentless training, not just natural talent. His camp is locked in on strength, timing, and endurance, ensuring he remains a threat every second the bell rings. Meanwhile, Jake Paul is treating this as the toughest challenge of his career. He's brought in elite sparring partners like Shakur Stevenson, Raymond Ford, and Montana Love to refine his speed, reaction time, and confidence before stepping into the ring against Tank.
So that's boxing at its finest right there. You heard it. They said it. Make that bet. Everything on the line. You know, that's old school right there.
Gervonta Davis places a heavy emphasis on conditioning, strengthening his core and preparing his body to absorb the force of devastating punches. Having felt the impact of brutal shots inside the ring, he knows firsthand how crucial toughness and stability are in a fight. His training features intense drills designed to test balance, posture, and resilience while boosting the explosive power behind every punch. Everything in camp is running at full throttle as Davis builds unmatched strength, endurance, and a razor-sharp mindset for the battle ahead with Jake Paul.
Ain't nobody breaking.
Box, exhale.
Ain't nobody breaking.
Box. Man, boom on that last break. Box.
Fight, boom.
I got him.
We can't shit
Box.
Yeah, I felt it.
Good, perfect. That was your best rep. Come on. Come on.
Jake Paul is deep in training camp, treating this fight as the biggest test of his career. To prepare for Gervonta Davis, he surrounded himself with top-tier talent to push him past his limits. Shakur Stevenson has joined him for sparring, giving Paul priceless experience against one of the sport's most technically gifted fighters. He's also working closely with Raymond Ford and Montana Love to refine his speed, timing, and defensive reflexes. Paul knows Tank is faster, smarter, and far more dangerous than anyone he's ever faced, which is why every day in camp is dedicated to sharpening his boxing IQ and building unshakable confidence for fight night. Gervonta Davis has built his legacy in boxing through pure hard work and unwavering dedication. His journey speaks louder than words. Trainer Calvin Ford has witnessed his rise firsthand, watching him evolve from a hungry young fighter with big dreams into a world-class champion who thrives under the brightest lights. Ford reminds everyone that success on fight night never happens by luck, it's born from countless hours in the gym, fueled by discipline and sacrifice. Davis has earned everything through grit and consistency. From his early days to now, he's never stopped evolving. And as he prepares to face Jake Paul, voices across the boxing world are weighing in on what could be the defining chapter of his career.
There's just so much stuff. And me and Kenny was sitting there talking about, and the majority of it is when he was little. We talk about all the stuff when he was little, and he started laughing like, dang.
When I get by myself, I always try to like think about like back in the day stuff.
Yeah. But we can tell.
I just noticed that just now, me talking about it. But when I get by myself, I'll be trying.
No, we can tell.
Yeah,
when I listen to your interview, I like listening to your interviews that you do, and I can tell when you reflect back on certain things.
Yeah.
We can see it. We can see it. That's when I think you at your peace, and you start reflecting back, and you talking about.
When he say something that we told him a long time ago,
and I said, damn, we like, damn, he did remember that.
Yeah, he remember that shit.
Yeah. I see Rody been calling you a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, as far as on the what you call it.
Veteran trainer Abel Sanchez views this matchup as a massive opportunity for Gervonta Davis. He points out that many fighters dedicate their entire lives to boxing, giving their bodies, their youth, and their health, yet still struggle to find financial stability. But Sanchez believes this fight is different. It offers Davis the chance to finally be rewarded for everything he's sacrificed for the sport. The financial upside is enormous, a rare opportunity few fighters ever see in their prime. While a bout with Jake Paul may not be for a title or ranking, Sanchez says it carries something even more valuable: security for the future. In his eyes, Davis deserves this moment where boxing finally gives something back, and he should seize it without hesitation.
I like the fight, but as a coach, I think it's a good move for Tank Davis. I mean, I've seen too many kids go out of this sport with not a cent in their pocket. And I think that if Tank Davis takes advantage of a big payday like that, I think it's a ridiculous fight as far as a fight fan. But as a coach, I understand it. You have to take care of your own.
Yeah, you know, well, actually, now that we're talking about it, you're not the biggest fan of it. Fight fans are bringing up like, hey, you know, why did he go this way when there's Lamont Roach? Like, look how close that fight was. There was a draw. We were expecting a rematch in that fight.
Yeah, well,
what's happening here?
As much as we hate it, it hasn't become really a sport. It's become a financial sport. So he took it because it's 5-6 times more than he's going to make with Lamont Roach. That makes sense. I mean, ask anybody if they have a choice, they're going to take the money. Of course. He's got to take care of his people. He's got to take care of himself. He's got to take care of his future. That's the smartest thing to do. As a fight fan, I don't like it. But as a coach, I understand it.
Yeah, no. And I think anybody in that position, like, we got to, like, put ourselves maybe sometimes in that same situation. And I think
absolutely
anybody with, like, any, like, sense of, like, common sense would look at that and be like, wait, I'm making this much to fight against this guy that's only been fighting for 5 years compared to what could be maybe a really hard fight, and I'm going to make double, triple. Yeah, I'm going to go, let me do this little side quest real quick, and let me get this money real fast. And then,
of course, you have to take care of your future, man. If it's offered to you, you'd be foolish not to take it, especially against a guy that is no threat to him.
Oh, well, I don't know. This 50 pounds, Abel.
Yeah, but he's no threat to him. Tank Davis fights the way he fights. Understand that Tank Davis fights. He's probably one of my favorite fighters. I think I've said that many a times. Mm-hmm. He fights in a manner where he's fought all those big guys. Look at the way he throws his punches. Look at how he ducks down like if he's fighting a real big guy. Look at the way he fought when he knocked out Garcia. Look at where he puts his head and how he throws his punches. In the street, that's who he was fighting. He was fighting bigger guys than him. He was always a smaller guy. So he knows how to fight those big guys. He knows how to duck up underneath and throw those looping shots because that's who he fought in the street. At least that's my opinion anyway. He's always been the little guy, and I'm sure that in the streets he wasn't.
Chris Algieri also admires what Gervonta Davis brings to the sport. He explains that modern boxing isn't just about skill, it's about attention, star power, and the ability to electrify a crowd. And every time Davis steps into the ring, the energy shifts. Fans pack arenas, knowing that with Tank, anything can happen. He's one of the most dangerous finishers in the game, with knockout power that keeps audiences standing from the first bell to the last. Algieri says Davis has become the face of boxing's new era, where every fight feels like a fusion of entertainment and greatness. He believes Davis has mastered the art of staying relevant in a sport where commanding attention matters just as much as winning rounds.
And the face of boxing is basically... Yeah, the face of boxing now is based on if you sell and if people tune in and how many eyes are tuning in when you fight. Gervonta Davis had that. Jake Paul has that. Now they're fighting each other.
Again, these are created products. These are still created products. Jake made his name going to Walgreens and making funny faces. You know what I mean? And it was just blowing up on YouTube and whatnot, right? I mean, that's how he started.
The world we live in now, dude. It's unfortunate. Okay, so, it's not like Sugar Ray Leonard, who was the best fighter in the world and marketable. It's not like Oscar De La Hoya, who was a gold medalist, a great fighter and marketable.
But what I'm saying is technology allows us to make, if I want to take this shoe off right here, and I say I want to make my Nike sneaker into the best product possible, and I got enough money to push it behind it. I put it all over your social media platform, and I put it all over your TV set and all over your phone and all over you know what, bro?
There's also an ongoing debate about Jake Paul and whether his fights are truly fair or carefully designed to favor him. Boxing veterans Carl Froch and Pauli Malignaggi don't believe the fights are staged, but they do think the conditions often tilt in Jake's favor. They point out that Jake usually enters the ring with clear advantages. He's bigger, heavier, and often benefits from rules that limit his opponent's strengths. Both Froch and Malignaggi understand the business side of boxing. Promoters want drama, a storyline, a spectacle that sells. That means the setup might be tailored to give Jake every possible edge. Still, they both agree on one thing: if the fight turns into a test of pure skill, Gervonta "Tank" Davis has the talent and technique to flip the script and expose the difference between showmanship and true boxing mastery.
They realized, an exhibition, you could stage it and they couldn't take bets on it. So this is an exhibition. There is no betting on it. So that means, I'm not saying people are going crazy with the opinions, who's going to win, who's going to lose. You don't know what size gloves they're going to wear. You don't even know if they're going to stage the whole thing, because this is something that as an exhibition, it's not illegal to stage it. So I think this could be all kinds of crazy, wacky stuff. This is a bit of a circus, in my opinion.
Who would you think should win that fight? Would you think that Davis should be able to get in there, even though the size did 100 pounds? Do you think he should be able to do it?
If they don't stage it and don't kind of set up a sort of a mild sparring session, I'd say Davis has a chance. Depends on the size of the gloves. Because here's the thing, Jake is probably 100 pounds bigger than the guy. That's a lot of weight, Carl. You've been in a boxing ring, that still counts. And if you make the gloves small, Gervonta could technically hurt Jake even if he hits him. But the problem is, if the gloves are small, Jake could also hurt Gervonta, because Gervonta's so small. Gervonta's so much smaller than him. So you make the gloves big, and then really, who's got an advantage? I don't know. Technically, Gervonta's a lot better boxer, but he's so much smaller. I've stood next to Jake. Jake's a big guy. It's like I said, it's a bit of a circus freak show, and that's why I don't put it out of the question that this exhibition could be a bit staged in the ring.
That's fair enough. That's a fair point, that is. And actually,
people aren't talking about that enough. I feel like people aren't talking about that enough.
Well, he's threatening to sue everybody who talks about it, and anyone who talks about it.
Well, that's because his fights have been sanctioned, and I personally don't think he has set up the other fights. I personally think, like Mike Tyson, he had no legs left. You know what I mean? I to tell you the truth, I thought that was an easy one to bet and call. It was that Jake would beat Mike Tyson, and even some of these other fights, they're smaller. Jake doesn't set up his fights. I think what he does is he stacks the deck against his opponents in those fights. So I wouldn't call them staged, but they're deck stackers. So he has an advantage. In this situation, though,
Shakur Stevenson views the matchup through a technical lens. He acknowledges that Jake Paul's size advantage is real, he's naturally bigger and stronger, but reminds everyone that size alone doesn't win fights. Gervonta Davis has been tested at the highest levels, facing and defeating world champions and lifelong professionals. Stevenson predicts that Tank won't recklessly chase a knockout. Instead, he expects a calculated, intelligent performance, using speed, precision, and distance control to dominate every round. Stevenson believes Davis will stay composed, outthink Jake, and win decisively on points. While Jake may be tough to drop, Stevenson is confident that Tank's superior boxing IQ and skill set will ultimately make all the difference.
I'll play some part of the fight, but if I'm thinking like I'm Tank, I'm probably just going to go out there and try to outbox him and use my knowledge and IQ against them. So I can see Tank just outboxing him and making it real easy.
Is there any way any realistic or legitimate way in your mind you could see Jake Paul winning a fight against Tank?
No.
No way.
Nope.
Not a lot of people have talked about Jake and said he's got good power. Not even and I get anything could technically happen, but you don't even see a realistic shot where he could land one big punch, and Tank being so much smaller, he just can't handle the power.
Nah, not at all. I think Tank is he's been boxing his whole life. Been boxing since a kid, so I doubt like that's gonna be an issue or problem. I think Jake is good for where he's at, but I think it's just levels.
Do you see a more likely chance that Tank wins by decision or by knockout?
By decision. I mean, that guy's too big. I don't think that he's just going to knock that guy out. So I see him like outboxing him.
Could you see a realistic possibility where Tank could knock him out? Although more likely that it is, like you just said, decision.
Nah, I don't see him knocking him out, no.
Will you watch, Shakur? I mean,
no.
Obviously, no?
Hell no, nah. That ain't really like... I mean, like I said, here's the thing. Like, I got two sides of me when it comes down to I got a business side, then I got a competitor side. And from the competitive aspect, it don't...
Weight has become one of the biggest talking points among fans and analysts. Many argue it's unfair to pit a smaller fighter like Gervonta Davis against a naturally bigger opponent like Jake Paul, warning that the weight gap could raise safety concerns. Others, however, believe that elite skill can overcome size. They trust that Davis's speed, precision, and ring IQ will neutralize the difference. After all, boxing history is filled with moments where smaller, smarter fighters used pure craft to defeat larger foes, and Davis might be ready to add his name to that list.
disheartening. WBA lightweight champion Gervonta Davis, who's unbeaten in 31 professional contests, takes on the self-proclaimed problem child Jake Paul, one of the most influential and marketable global personalities. Paul and Davis square off in Miami after doubts around the fight being sanctioned in Georgia triggered a change in venue. Neither fighter can weigh more than 195 pounds. The weight is perhaps the most surprising factor. Paul has boxed most of his career around 200 pounds, the cruiserweight limit, but did tip the scales at 227 pounds when he faced off against Iron Mike Tyson last year. Davis, much smaller in stature, competes at the 135 pound mark and has also won world honours at super featherweight. And despite some discussions about possibly dropping down to 10 ounces, the pair seem set to wear 12-ounce gloves. And in terms of distance, despite the exhibition tag, the fight will play out over 10 3-minute rounds with 3 scoring judges at ringside, but the result will not...
Robert Garcia, speaking as both a veteran trainer and former world champion, believes there's nothing wrong with Gervonta Davis taking this fight. After all, it's his career, and he has every right to make choices that benefit him. However, Garcia's main concern lies in the timing. He feels Davis is still in the middle of writing his legacy, with more titles to claim and marquee matchups. Fans still want to see. Any analysts view this event as more of a global spectacle than a traditional fight. Jake Paul, who rose to fame through social media and entertainment, brings a massive audience that extends far beyond boxing's usual fan base. Some see that as a good thing, a way to expand the sport's reach. But others argue it dilutes boxing's purity, shifting focus from competition to showmanship. There are also concerns about the fight's conditions. Several analysts predict Jake will push for heavier gloves and a higher weight limit to blunt Davis's knockout power. They believe such adjustments are the only way Jake can survive past the early rounds. If those rules are approved, Garcia warns that Davis will have to remain calm, strategic, and patient, waiting for the perfect moment to strike.
Something like that, but I don't know. What's your just take on the whole thing?
I'm not very interested. That doesn't excite me. I know it's going to do really good numbers. I know they're making a lot of money, which is good for them, good for Tank, because in boxing that's what everybody looks for. I think it's, the good thing is they announced it as an exhibition, which is, I'm okay with it. Everybody does it. Mayweather has done it. Ali did it. The only thing, my personal opinion is Tank. They all did it when they had already accomplished so much. They already did so much. Mayweather did everything in boxing and accomplished everything. Muhammad Ali did the same, and many others that have done it. I think Tank never gave us the fights that we really wanted. Never really gave us those challenges. He never really challenged himself. He didn't give Rhodes that rematch, which he should have. Mayweather did it when he had a hard time with Maidana and Castillo. Right away, he did the rematches to prove everybody wrong, and look at what he did. He beat them clearly. So Tank should have done the same. He didn't. That I could criticize, but then at the end also, if you're making 30 to 50 million, I don't even know what he's making to fight, to have an exhibition against just Jake Paul, I would have asked him. I would do the same.
No one would say no to that. Right?
If I had one of my fighters get an offer to fight a big celebrity, a big YouTuber for $20-30 million, I would probably do the same. So I don't blame him. It's boxing. At the end of his career, 20 years from now, nobody's gonna care how many.
Boxing veteran Bernie Thor takes a blunt and passionate stance. He grows frustrated when people say they're happy for Gervonta Davis simply because he's making money. Bernie reminds everyone that Davis isn't struggling financially. He's already earned millions through years of hard work and success. In his view, boxing should never revolve around money alone. Fans crave real competition, great fights between true champions. Bernie warns that when financial gain becomes the main storyline, the sport starts losing its soul. To him, the matchup between Gervonta Davis and Jake Paul is more than just a fight, it's a collision between two worlds. On one side stands Davis, a product of the traditional boxing system, a fighter molded through years of discipline, gym battles, and tournaments. On the other stands Jake Paul, a creation of the digital age, someone who built fame and influence outside the ropes before stepping into the ring.
I'm saying, if he stops Pitbull Cruz, right? Don't you think that people would want to see, Lamont and Tank more due to the fact that, Tank had a hard time with Pitbull?
you know, I think people just want to see Tank versus Lamont because Lamont, he had a hard time with Lamont. It's just like Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia. People just like controversy. People just like, you know what I'm saying? So people like to see finished business. You know, they don't want to leave it unfinished. And that's what the intrigue is. They want to people want to see finished business. So, you know what I'm saying? I think that's the intrigue of the fight. And it doesn't make no sense why they taking so fucking fight, you know. Everybody keeps saying that Tank getting the money, but is we getting the fucking money? Is we bidding there for the fucking money? Is he gonna give us some of the money? Are we waiting on him to feed us any bit? No. I want what I want. Fuck that. I'm selfish. I'm a fan. I want to see the fucking fight. I don't want to see no fucking circus. You know what I'm saying? So for everybody saying, oh, he bad, who gives a fuck? I hope he already rich as fuck. He already won 30 million in the last fight or something. He got more money than I'm ever gonna have. I don't give a fuck. I want to see the fights. I'm a fucking boxing fan. I want to see a